Today, we're rolling back to a time when shag carpeting was wall to wall. Afternoon snacks were practically a food group, and every trip to the grocery store felt like an adventure. Buckle up, because we're about to look back to the foods only those who grew up in the 70s will remember. Right here on the Great American Time Machine. In the 70s, space was the final frontier. And thanks to space food sticks, it could also be your afternoon snack. Marketed as the energy snack of the astronauts, these chewy little rods came wrapped in futuristic silver packaging that made you feel like you were prepping for launch. In reality, they were somewhere between a Tootsie Roll and a protein bar. But none of that mattered when you were pretending your backyard was the moon. Kids gobbled up flavors like peanut butter, chocolate, and caramel, even if half the time it tasted suspiciously like vitamins. Still, anything NASA adjacent was automatically cool. And if you brought space food sticks in your lunchbox, instant playground cred. Even if your friends made you trade 2-to-1 for fruit roll-ups. Having a blast cruising through snack time memory lane? Hit that subscribe button to serve up some more delicious American nostalgia. No permission slip needed. Mug-a-Lunch. Long before the invention of microwave meals, there was the humble yet heroic Mug-a-Lunch. Campbell's dreamed it up. Dehydrated meals you could prepare by simply pouring boiling water into a coffee mug. The options weren't glamorous. Think chicken and noodles, beef stew, or spaghetti. But for a generation of latchkey kids, it was pure independence. If you could boil water without burning the house down, you could feed yourself a full meal and feel like a mini adult. Sure, the noodles had a consistency of soggy yarn, and the stew often had a suspicious grayish tint. But who cared? It was hot, it was salty, and it was yours. Plus, eating dinner out of a mug while watching The $6 Million Man, that just felt right. Next, tuna twist. Picture it, mom's in the kitchen holding a can of tuna and looking desperate for a way to make it exciting. Enter Tuna Twist, Kraft's magical seasoning packets that turn boring old tuna salad into something special. Well, slightly less boring. Each packet promised to perk up your tuna with flavors like onion, herb and spice, or garden vegetable. And if you were fancy, you added some chopped celery. If you were really fancy, maybe even raisins. Hey, it was the 70s. Tuna Twist wasn't just a product, it was a lifestyle. It popped up in casseroles, sandwich spreads, potluck dishes, and anything else desperate housewives could dream up between soap operas. What? And yes, your whole kitchen did smell like tuna for 3 days, but that was just part of the charm. Dippy Donuts. If pure sugar chaos had a mascot in the 1970s, it was Dippy Donuts. This snack was a parent's worst nightmare and a kid's wildest dream. Tiny cake donuts paired with packets of sticky frosting or syrup for dipping. Forget neatly eating a donut with a napkin. Dippy Donuts dared you to dunk, smear, and demolish your snack with maximum mess. Birthday parties, Saturday mornings, even car rides. If Dippy Donuts were involved, so was a sugar high and an inevitable crash. And don't even get us started on what your hands and your clothes look like afterwards. A quick wipe on your jeans and you were good to go. Hygiene standards were a little looser back then. Next, Wheatables. In the 70s, snacking started to flirt with the idea of health, or at least the illusion of it. Enter Wheatables, the cracker that looked nutritious enough to fool your parents, but tasted buttery and rich enough to satisfy your after-school cravings. They were lightly sweet, pleasantly flaky, and if you added a slice of cheese, or heck, a swipe of peanut butter, you felt like a sophisticated grown-up. Wheatables were the perfect TV snack. Sturdy enough to survive long stretches of commercials, but light enough to justify eating half the box in one sitting. There was always an argument over whether they were healthy or not. But honestly, no one eating them with a giant glass of Kool-Aid really cared. Burple. If you thought Capri Sun was fun, clearly you never wrestled with a Burple. This 70s colorful accordion-style bottle expanded as you added water, creating a wobbly, giggly container full of fruity punch. The drink itself was, well, okay, aggressively sweet. But the real magic was in the bottle, collapsing it down with a satisfying squish sound, or squeezing it until it practically exploded on your sibling. Burple wasn't just a drink, it was a lifestyle hazard. Sticky floors, stained shirts, and minor kitchen floods were all part of the experience. But hey, if you didn't have purple hands after drinking Burple, were you really even living? Saturday mornings in the 70s were sacred, and Crunchy Log cereal was the holy grail of cartoon-fueled breakfasts. Led by none other than Sugar Bear, already famous from Golden Crisp, Crunchy Logs promised a hearty, woodsy vibe. Even if they were just sugar bombs shaped like miniature logs, the commercials practically begged you to imagine yourself camping in the great outdoors, even if you were in a split-level ranch on the edge of suburbia. The flavor? Somewhere between maple syrup and sweetened cardboard, but in the best possible way. Pour yourself a giant bowl, park it in front of Scooby-Doo, and you were set for the morning, sugar crash and all. Before fruit snacks ruled the playground, Jell-O gave us the wonderfully weird pudding roll-ups. Imagine a thin, shiny sheet of pudding you could peel and eat with your hands. No spoon required. Kids loved the chocolate, vanilla, and butterscotch flavors, and the challenge of seeing how long they could stretch one out without tearing it. Of course, they were a sticky mess. After about 2 minutes, your fingers were covered in pudding slime, and heaven help you if you dropped a piece. It picked up every speck of dirt like a lint roller. Still, they made lunchtime an adventure. Sadly, between the mess and the fact that a forgotten roll-up could fuse itself to your math homework, pudding roll-ups didn't last too long. But if you were lucky enough to try one, you know nothing else quite compared. Next, there's Gator Gum. In the 1970s, staying hydrated meant drinking water, or if you were a kid, chewing Gator Gum. Yes, this was a real thing. The geniuses behind Gatorade figured if athletes loved their drink, they'd probably love it in chewy form too. The gum came in bright green and yellow packs and promised to quench your thirst while you chewed. Did it actually hydrate you? Absolutely not. But kids didn't care. The gum was super soft, packed a massive citrusy punch, and gave you about 3 minutes of flavor before it turned into a rubber band. Still, for a few glorious minutes, you felt like a sports legend just chomping away at the taste of victory. Gator Gum eventually fizzled out, but it lives on in the memories of sweaty 70s kids who thought, why drink Gatorade when you can chew it? And last but not least, cookies in the 70s weren't just cookies. They were full-blown surprises. Enter Magic Middles, the innocent-looking shortbread treats that hid a molten core of chocolate inside. One bite and boom, a creamy, fudgy center oozed out like a tiny party in your mouth. Magic Middles were marketed as the ultimate after-school reward, and for good reason. They had everything. Buttery cookie on the outside, rich, gooey goodness on the inside. No wonder they felt a little, well, magical. Kids would nibble around the edges, saving that sweet middle for last, or just chomp straight through with zero patience. Sadly, by the 90s, Magic Middles disappeared from shelves, leaving a gooey gap in snack time history. Attempts to recreate them have popped up over the years, but let's be honest, nothing is ever quite compared to that first magical bite. And there you have it. Some of the foods that only those who grew up in the 70s would remember. A mouth-watering journey back to a time when snack foods were simpler, sweeter, and definitely stickier. Make sure to let us know in the comments what foods you remember from the 70s. And subscribe now for more time travel back into American history. Right here on the Great American Time Machine.